Hello everyone and welcome aboard the Oasis of the Seas for today's ship tour. Before we get started, of course, leave a like on today's video if you enjoyed the tour, and subscribe for all the upcoming Oasis of the Seas content here on the channel. Anyways, enough of that, let's go ahead and get started all the way up on the bridge wings in the solarium, all the way on deck 15 forward. The solarium is, of course, the adults-only relaxation area. Lots of loungers, hot tubs, even some little pools like you see right here. Very, very nice, quiet relaxation area. And then, of course, there is a upper level too on deck 16, which includes the solarium bar. And then underneath the solarium bar, back on 15, we have the solarium bistro, where it acts as a buffet for breakfast and for lunch. On deck 15, all the way forward as we come out of the solarium, this is on each side of the ship compared to some of the newer Oasis class ships, but we have the cantilever whirlpools that hang over the side of the ship. Then we're going to jump right up onto deck 16, where the main sun deck type area is. Of course, you can see right here the toilet bowl, water slide right here, and some of the casitas. The casitas you do have to pay to use. They are quite expensive from what I've heard, but a little private place to sit out. Let me know if you ever used one of those before. They look interesting. Not sure if it's worth the money, but if you've tried one, let me know. Moving on back a little bit further to midship, we have the lime and coconut, the upper level to it. Pretty much lime is on one level, coconut is on the other. Continuing on back though, on deck 16, midship, kind of making our way towards the aft, we have the Windjammer buffet. Of course, the main buffet area, breakfast, lunch, dinner, all sorts of food options. And one of the best parts about the Windjammer layout here on the Oasis class is, of course, the views that you can get, whether you want to look out the boardwalk and the sports deck area, or if you want to just kind of look out the sides of the ship. Either one, you do get those options. There's a lot of area here and a lot of places to sit around the Windjammer. Right below that, we have a look into the video arcade. Play some arcade games, skee ball, claw machines, all sorts of stuff like that. Always a great time. We're going to go down to 15 right below the Windjammer buffet. This is like a little, almost like a closet type area, but they have vending machines with things like painkillers, sunscreen, aloe, some of those necessities that you may not have thought of. And they even have little chargers if maybe you forgot one or something like that. I don't know really how those would be used. Anyways, going to keep going further back though. We have the El Loco Fresh, the Mexican restaurant here on board. This is one of my personal favorites. I love El Loco Fresh. El Loco Fresh is open for breakfast as well. They serve things like eggs, hash browns, sausage, bacon, things like that. Some ships don't have it open for breakfast, but Oasis does, so huge thumbs up. And there's not really a whole lot of people that come up there for breakfast, so definitely try that out if you have a chance. Moving on back, though, we have the basketball court, and of course being multi-purposed for pickleball and even soccer at one point, which was kind of cool. We have all the way in the back, we have one of the two flow riders, as this dude just wiped out. But continuing on over to one of the main attractions here on board Oasis of the Seas, the Ultimate Abyss, a 10-story dry slide going from deck 16 all the way down to deck 6. We have the wipeout bar in the middle, and of course the other flow rider here. One is used for stand-up surfing and the other is for boogie boarding. Moving on forward as we make our way around the sports deck, we have the mini golf course, which is kind of a little tropical island kind of theme, which is really, really cool looking. And then, of course, one of the premier things here on board Oasis is, of course, the zip line going over from that little platform all the way over here as you zip across the boardwalk that is 10 decks below you. One really cool thing is that this is exclusive to the Oasis of the Seas. We have the portside barbecue. It is a pay to eat. Kind of unfortunate that it is, because I never saw anybody in here. I feel like this was a free option. It would be packed and lots of people would be using it. So kind of a waste of space unless they didn't charge for it. But barbecue restaurant nonetheless, looks really good. Just never tried it out. Even has some outdoor seating here, which is really cool too. I feel like this has so much potential. If it was, say, free to eat, kind of like Carnival's barbecue restaurants on their ships, possibly. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Moving on forward, though, we have the Splashaway Bay. This is the kids' water park area. You have a little dump bucket all the way up the top and things for them to run through. It looks like a really good time if you're a kid. Across from there, we have the main pool, or one of the main pools here on Oasis of the Seas. Lots of loungers, and of course you have some against the wall there, the windows there as well. So if you want to look out the windows or just kind of lay out in the shade, you can do that. Here we have one of the lime and coconut bars. We have the lower level of it. Again, they're much bigger bar down on the bottom level and a smaller one up at the top. Here we have another one of the main pools here, and a look at the water slides again. We have the two on the left-hand side here that have the clear sections, and of course the pink and orange, which is neat, and then the toilet bowl that we were looking at earlier. Very cool looking water slides. Didn't get a chance to do these though, but they do look great. Kind of the one big bummer of the 3-night cruises. You don't quite get a chance to do everything, especially on these Oasis class ships. Skipping down one, we've got deck 14 forward. We have the Adventure Ocean here for the kids, the little kids club. So deck 14 all the way forward. Deck 14 midship, kind of more aft-ish, kind of in the middle. It's by the rear elevator bank. We have the Royal Escape Room, which is themed after Apollo 18, or it's called Apollo 18, kind of a mission control for, you know, a space shuttle launch type of thing. The door to it was just conveniently cracked open, so we took a peek inside, and it looks really neat in here. Decks 11 and 12 aft. This is overlooking the boardwalk. This is just the card room, kind of hidden way in the back and not really a frequently used area, but one really cool thing is that we found a giant model of the Oasis of the Seas and even a duck up at the top. Neato. Do you collect ducks? Let me know in the comments. Skipping down to deck 8 and 9, we have the music hall, which is a nice little live music area. Again, spans decks 8 and 9. Deck 8 midship, we have one of the most iconic pieces of the Oasis class, and of Oasis of the Seas, we have the Central Park. Giant greenery area. Of course, it really does get its name. It's just a giant park in the central of the ship, or the central part of the ship. But nonetheless, we have Chops Grill over on one side. It's the main steakhouse that we have here on board. And right in the middle, we have the Rising Tide bar that goes from decks 5 all the way up to here on deck 8, so it'll take you all the way down into the promenade. Here we have 150 Central Park, another one of the specialty dining restaurants. I've never actually eaten here, but it's supposed to be very, very good. It's supposed to be the top premium type restaurant as far as the specialty restaurants. And moving on, though, we have the Trellis Bar here in the middle of Central Park, and then moving into one of the main places here, Park Cafe, which is usually open for lunch. Usually you can just grab yourself a salad here, even a beef sandwich, desserts like cookies, things like that, even coffees. So a couple options, kind of limited, but kind of what you would expect. Just a little cafe in the middle of Central Park nonetheless, but very, very good. I always enjoy going there. Giovanni's is the Italian restaurant, different from Jamie's Italian. Giovanni's actually, in my opinion, is better. But nonetheless, Giovanni's Italian, very, very good. Always recommend getting that. And, of course, some outdoor seating. Another bar found here on Central Park is Vintages. It's a wine bar. Very, very good. You can grab yourself either a bottle or even just a glass of wine and hang out on Central Park or even inside the bar. And then here's just one of the luxury shops that are here on Central Park. Nothing on deck 7, so we are going to skip down to deck number 6, Vitality at Sea. This is the spa and fitness center on board Oasis of the Seas. Come on in. Nice little area right here. Even have a little coffee and smoothie bar here off to your right-hand side, which is always really nice. Looks like it's a Starbucks menu, and like I mentioned, some smoothies as well. Just more healthy alternatives, really, than what you would normally find anywhere else. But really cool stuff here. Deck 5 forward, we have the Royal Theater. It spans decks 4 and 5. This is just the upper level entrance of it. But this is pretty much where a lot of the Broadway shows, the main shows, take place in here in this theater. There looks like they were getting set up for something, which was kind of cool. Anyways, we're going to move on to the outdoor section of deck 5. As we take a look at the jogging track, there's a few places throughout where you can kind of see out, but not really great views unless you're all the way in the back. But then we're going to go back inside to deck 5. Here we have a look on the main promenade, the main strip of the ship. That we have the Starbucks here right in the center, and Spotlight Karaoke as we take a look inside. Usually at night they'll come alive and have some karaoke nights. Always seems like a fun time in here. Here we have another look at the Starbucks. Actually, it officially licensed Starbucks, so you do get all these actual Starbucks menu items, and even some coffee mugs with Oasis of the Seas on it, which is really cool. But right next to that, we have Boleros, which is another place for some live music, another bar found here on the Royal Promenade. We continue further along. We're going to make our way down the strip. Here we have the Royal Shops, where you can find all of your Royal Caribbean logo merchandise. Cruise ship models, t-shirts, pillows, which is kind of cool. I have one of those. It was kind of cool. Just a bunch of random Royal Caribbean logo merchandise, though, found there. It's always a cool time to go in and look around. More of the royal shops, sunglasses, liquor store, all that type of thing. Here we have the Globe's Atlas, or the Globe and Atlas, which is the Irish-themed pub. All the ships in Royal Caribbean's fleet seem to have an Irish pub, which is kind of cool. But nonetheless, Globe and Atlas here on Oasis of the Seas. And across from there, we have Sorrento's, which is the pizza place, another one of my personal favorites on any Royal Caribbean ship. Grab yourself a really good slice of pizza here at Sorrento's. Moving on back to Cafe Promenade. Similar menu to Starbucks, pretty much the same thing. And a little bonus here with Cafe Promenade is it actually is a little bit cheaper, and you get your loyalty discount on your coffee from Cafe Promenade, even if you get the exact same drink that you would find from Starbucks. Moving on, though, we have the Rising Tide bar. Here's the lower level that we were looking at, or we were talking about earlier with Central Park. This is where it would let out when it gets to the bottom. Here we have a look at guest services, just in case you need anything on board or have any complaints or issues, whatever reason may be, go to guest services. They'll take care of you over there. And then right next to the Rising Tide bar as well, we have the Bionic bar, which made its big debut on Quantum of the Seas back in 2014. Crazy that it's been 10 years. But robotic bartenders, always really cool to check out, although it does seem like it's on its way out, as Pesky Parrot just made its debut on Utopia of the Seas, which essentially just took the place of the Bionic bar over on Utopia of the Seas. But nonetheless, here to stay for now on Oasis of the Seas with the robotic bartenders, always very cool. We're going to jump back up to Deck 6 towards the end of the Royal Promenade. We have the next cruise desk if you want to book a future cruise here with Royal Caribbean. Sometimes you get a little bit of kickback or some onboard credits, so always try to do that. And we have the schooner bar that is on every single Royal Caribbean ship to date so far. Just another lounge and bar type of area. But across from that, we have the Focus Photo Gallery and the Shore Excursions desk. Pretty much both of these have either the screens or the tablets that you see here, where you just tap your card, and then for the Shore Excursions, it's going to bring up all sorts of excursions that you can take throughout your cruise, whether it's in Coco Cay, Bahamas, Southern Caribbean. I know that's what Oasis is actually going to do. Or you can head over to the Focus Photo Gallery and do the same thing and look at all of your photos. Here we have another one of the many neighborhoods here on board Oasis of the Seas. We have the Boardwalk, which is one of the more famous areas aboard this class of ship. Just a really cool outdoor area down on Deck 6. You got the Carousel, which is pretty much exclusive to the Oasis class, other than now Icon of the Seas that just came out. You have the Playmakers, which has some arcade games on the outside. They're having a little staff meeting over there. But here we have another look at the Carousel. Really, really cool. And then a really cool look up at the upper levels of the ship with the giant nameplate across the back there. Playmakers is a pay-to-eat sports bar. Always one of my favorites. It's pretty much a tradition anytime my friend Justin that comes with me on some of these cruises, him and I, every time we go on a ship with Playmakers, we go there the first night of the cruise. Cool little tradition. But nonetheless, moving on further back, we have the bottom of the Ultimate Abyss that we looked at earlier. This is where it lets out 10 decks below. And then, of course, right behind that, we have the Aqua Theater, which is the really one of the more famous parts, again, of the Oasis-class ships. This is the giant outdoor theater with that pool that's part of the stage, and it becomes a stage and a pool at the same time. Really, really cool. And then a look at some of the rock climbing walls as well. Here we have a look at Johnny Rockets. It is a 50s themed diner that's here on the Boardwalk of Oasis of the Seas. It is a pay to eat. It's probably around $12-ish, but everything's included at that point, so eat as much as you want for that single price. Here we have the beach shop that's right next to it, just more of your beachy themed merchandise, you know, button-up Hawaiian style t-shirts, little floopy hats, things like that. Sugar Beach is the candy store found right next door. Lots of stuff like Skittles, M&Ms, all sorts of random candies in there. And then, of course, the Boardwalk Doghouse if you want to grab yourself a hot dog. I've actually never done that. On all the Oasis class ships, I've never had a Boardwalk hot dog. Skipping down to Deck 5 in the back, we have the main dining room. It spans Decks 3, 4, and 5. Of course, this is just the upper level of it. One of the largest dining rooms at sea, if not the largest. I'd have to fact check myself on that one. But absolutely massive dining room here on board Oasis of the Seas. And again, spanning Decks 3, 4, and 5. Deck 4, all the way in the back, we have Izumi Hibachi. This is the hibachi and sushi. So the traditional Japanese restaurant that makes the food all in front of you. Always one of my personal favorites. I love hibachi. But Yeah, here's all the tables for it. Very, very good. It is a pay to eat. It's close to $75 or $80. It is very expensive though. And then, of course, making our way midship, pretty much crosses all the way through the midship, we have the Casino Royale, where you can do blackjack, slot machines, any type of gambling that you want to do here on Oasis. You could probably find the machine or table here for that. And as you come out of the Casino Royale, you have Studio B, which is the ice skating rink on board. Always really cool to go check out the ice shows on the Oasis class ships or even on some of the others. Blaze is the comedy club on board, another one of the random lounges here down on deck 4 midship, right below the promenade. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video of the Oasis of the Seas full walkthrough tour. If you did, of course, like I mentioned earlier, leave a like and subscribe for more Oasis of the Seas content going forward, as we have videos from all 3 days on board this amazing ship, as we were on like a special 3-night sailing before she started her 6- and 8-night voyages from Fort Lauderdale this season. Anyways, thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.